Hello. Here, I'll get his ugly face out of the way. Hello, hello. Uh, I guess I could. No, I'll just leave it here. It's sneak peek of our first story that we're covering. Haha. But hello, good morning, everyone. News is back on the menu after quite a while. I think we had about a month hiatus from news, so it's been a bit of a minute. But we're getting back. News is back on the menu, baby. Our Monday news broadcast. Welcome. Eh, a bit of a hectic morning for me. A bit of a hectic morning, truthfully, because I literally told my boyfriend last night, knowing my luck, what's gonna happen with news is that I'm gonna talk about the government shutdown reaching 40 days, which is a historic number. And then knowing my luck, they're gonna vote to try to unshut down the government. And then what happened about an hour ago? So I had to do a bit of a change of plan. So we will get to that in a moment. But it is a breaking story that's actively updating. So I'm gonna try to do my best with the information I have active towards me. Hello, Gringo, Luna, Pumpkin. Yes, hello, hello. Unshutting is crazy. Because originally I had it unshut down, but I feel like it's a bit of misinformation because the process isn't as simple as just, oh, they say they want to unshut it down, they're gonna unshut it down. They have to do a vote and then currently, like the Senate approved, and now the House has to go back and vote. So it's not like fully. So I didn't want to make it, it's not fully unshut down, but it's in the process. Hello, Crusader. Yes, it's unshutting. It's in the process of unshutting down. So I quickly edited that last second. Um, I guess I should do, before we jump straight in, I'm gonna talk about some, you know what I should have done? I should have just brought up a picture of my schedule, but whatever. I'll just talk a little bit about schedule this week, just for heads up. So tomorrow we will not be doing a morning stream, we'll be doing a later stream at about 8 p.m. So for those of y'all who can't make it, totally okay. I will upload a VOD on YouTube. Uh, Totally okay. I'm doing a collab with Chi, with our wonderful Chi. She is due to time zone differences, we have to collab a bit later, so that's the price I pay to collab with a lovely like her. And the two of us will be playing the Outlast Trials tomorrow night, so very excited about that. That's gonna be fun. I played it once with her and both of us had a lot of fun while Shiro like struggled. So we're gonna be doing that tomorrow. And then Saturday, I will also be doing a late stream. As I'll be doing a collab with Shiro and like I think Chi will be there and a bunch of other people for I think it's called Goose Goose Duck is the game. But it's kind of like an Among Us style game, and so I'm gonna try that. Other than that, Thursday, Friday, Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0 is, back on the menu. So, uh kind of Wednesday, I will not be streaming as I'll be taking the time to work on some stuff. But yes, that is kind of a look at the schedule. If you like it, you can fart in the game. You know what? Hell yeah. And also, I'm gonna message him about it, but I'm gonna try to get together with Gringo and see when we can do our next Sons of the Forest stream. So I'm gonna try to get that also in the works because I want to do another one. I'm gonna see if maybe we can work something out for next week for that. If I have to stream a bit later on the weekend to do it, I'll do it. As for subathon progress, currently we're at 16. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of us. We're doing great. As I pinned, just so I don't have to reiterate it consistently, you can do normal Twitch subs or you can do the tips, which is on my Twitch page. there'll be like a panel for it. If you want to do tips, I will get a higher percentage of the money if you don't want Twitch to take 50%. And I will just count it the same as like, because a normal Twitch sub is $5, so I'll just count it in increments of 5. But it will also go towards subathon count. If you would prefer to do that, because I know some of you gals prefer doing tips as opposed to doing Twitch subs. So I did that so that we have 2 different options for those who don't want to do Twitch subs. So yeah, there you go. Well, we're doing great. If our next goal will be a tier list debate stream with you guys. So that'll be fun. That'll be our 20 goal. And then our 30 is a smasher pass with characters you guys recommend me. So we got some cool community streams if on the horizon. Yeah, since everyone really liked the Halloween smasher pass. Oh my god, Green. Oh, he spooked the fuck out of me. Oh, thank you so much. Well, we're at 17. Thank you so much, Gringo. You're so sweet. No, we have not started it. Gringo, you beat me. We have not started the Smash or Pass suggestion. Once we reach the goal, I'll open it up and I'll have a thing in the Discord to submit, just so that way I can like vet in case someone. I don't want someone coming in and posting sus shit, you know, so that way I can just ensure that they're like good. And then I'll set it up like I did the Halloween one where I'll just use like a tier list thing and it'll be characters you recommend, so I might know them, I might not, but it'll be a lot of fun. So that's our 30 goal. But we have till the end of the month, so we have a lot of time. And also, if there's a goal for a community stream that we don't manage to meet, but it's really like the idea is really popular, then maybe further down the line we could still work something out. Um, but I guess I should hop into news. I guess I should hop into news. Personal news is done. I got everything out of the way that I wanted to talk about. So I guess we should just jump into it. Look at this fucking dude. Uh, so first story that I decided I was gonna talk about, you can ignore him, was the flight issue. Oh, thank you, Crusader. The flight issues that we've been having in America. So basically, due to the fact that the government has been shut down for 40 days, which I will talk about this shutdown more in depth for our next story. So if you don't really know why the government is shut down, don't worry, I will get into it. Uh, because of the shutdown, it's really cucked over the airports, specifically like flight control, because they're technically a lot of airport employees are technically federal employees. And the whole thing with government shutdown is federal employees aren't getting paid during a government shutdown. So these airport employees aren't getting paid. Um, as you can see here, airlines have canceled more than 2,800 flights and delayed more than 10,000 on Sunday, in the third day of government-mandated flight cuts due to rising air traffic control staffing shortages after thousands of delays and cancellations snarled traffic on Saturday. Uh, and as mentioned, the shutdown reached a record 40 days, which led to a shortage in air traffic controllers. And the panic is Thanksgiving is coming up. And since Thanksgiving is coming up, a lot of people are going to be traveling across the country to try to go see their families. But if the airports are fucked up, you know, that's the only thing worse than that is if it was Christmas time, truthfully, in terms of like flight patterns. And so basically there's a shortage because, well, the airline employees aren't getting paid, so why would they go to work? You know, why are you going to work if you get a paycheck for $0? Doesn't sound very fun, does it? Doesn't sound something that you would like to do. So why would they do it, you know? And so just because of that, they don't have enough air traffic controllers right now, so they're having to delay flights or straight up cancel them. And it is, you know, affecting a lot of people's a lot of businesses who have like you know, have to travel for business purposes, things like that. They're all getting messed up, and well, there's nothing you can do about it because you just gotta wait for the government to open up again. Why stress if there's no compensation? Exactly, yes, because air traffic controller is a very already, like, air traffic controller is something that they need more people in regardless. Airports are already rather understaffed, despite what a lot of people think. Um, there have been daily flight cuts, and it looks like they were, at least this might potentially change, but they were trying to cut 6% on Tuesday and then eventually hit 10% flight cuts by November 14th for the Federal Aviation Administration. And so basically what has been happening is the airlines have been basically begging the government to reopen, and it's been putting a lot of pressure. Why fly? Just walk to your destination. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Get that exercise. Get your steps in, you know? But the airlines have been basically begging the government to reopen, and the government, well, wasn't. And this was putting a lot of pressure on the current debacle with the government shutdown. And it was actually one of the main, if not the main pressure pusher on reopening the government is the fact that Thanksgiving time is coming up and the airlines are fucked. So, and truthfully, this is kind of where, also, yes, this shows here, it is the longest shutdown in history. The previous record was 35 days, and as you can also see, there tends to be a theme in the color patterns for a lot of, you know, these shutdowns of who's in charge of them, tends to be a certain political party here. Despite what they claim, it is a Republican shutdown. I was, quite frankly, this is where my shakeup happened this morning, because I was like, okay, we're gonna talk about flights. However, the story can't really be talked about as much now because of a big breakthrough that's happened that is kind of going to affect the airlines and the flight patterns. So I kind of just gotta wait for more updated information, because as of this morning, if we get to it, the Senate has officially moved to basically end the shutdown. This happened this morning, which is crazy. As you can see here, since getting stream set up, there has already been 3 updates. So one of the Democrats, boo, she has come out. Another one came out, boo. And Trump demands air traffic controllers get back to work and threatens penalties against those who don't. Yeah, so yeah. So, as you can see, there was a lot of drama regarding the air traffic controllers. Actually, we'll see here that he demanded Monday, which, oh my God, today's Monday. Because this was, yeah, an hour ago. He demanded Monday that all air traffic controllers get back to work now, warning those who don't would face penalties while promising bonuses to those who've worked during the government shutdown. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked for those air traffic controllers who were great patriots and didn't take any time off for the Democratic shutdown hoax. I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country, Trump wrote on Truth Social, going on to add that those who didn't work will have a negative mark, at least in my mind, against your record. After the worst weekend for air traffic control staffing since the shutdown began, delays due to staffing problems were already reported Monday morning. Despite a potential deal to end the government shutdown, controllers are required to pay up for their job, to show up for their job during the shutdown, but are not being paid. All but one Democratic senators that are voting in the shutdown are over 70. Yeah. Oh, trust me. Oh, I'll get into those fuckers. Don't. Oh, you want to know my opinion on the eight assholes? Oh, trust me. I got their fuck. I know their. Ooh, I'll get into them. I got some choice words. Um. Yeah. So Trump was literally threatening air traffic controllers this morning, and then basically what occurred, as you can see up here, this is kind of like an overview. 8 Democrats decided to break the line and vote with the Republicans in the Senate to push forward with ending the shutdown, which means that they are going to vote with the bill that the Republicans are presenting. The issue of why the shutdown has been going on is because they are trying to protect subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act, also known as Green Dogs Girl. The Affordable Care Act, often called Obamacare, it's kind of in exchange the terms. They talk about them separately as if they're separate things. It's really annoying. Basically, to kind of get into why the shutdown happened, it's because the current bill is going to cuck the Obamacare subsidies, which will in result raise the prices. For example, premiums of the Affordable Care Act will skyrocket 26% on average next year, just days before enrollment, which was the first. 26% increase to premiums. In states that run their own exchanges, the benchmark plan premium will still raise by an average of 17%. And the monthly benchmark premium for healthcare.gov will soar 30% on average. But that's not not all the bad news. The annual amount enrollees will pay in 2026 will be far, far higher because the enhanced premium subsidies will disappear. Their monthly payments are expected to more than double, according to a separate analysis, a health policy research group, the KFF. Those window shopping at healthcare.gov will get a full sense of the sticker shock. Many for the first time, the premiums on the site reflect the lapse of the enhanced insistence. Still, most enrollees will be able to find 2026 plans on the federal exchange with premiums at or below $50 a month after factoring in the original Obamacare subsidies that are part of the 2010 health reform law and do not expire. But the impact of expiring enhanced assistance is clear. Nearly 60% of enrollees signing up for 2026 can find plans in that price range compared to 83% of consumers in 2025 plans. They're also not up for re-election. Yes, all of them are either not up for re-election or they're retiring. What's the point in getting at that point? If it's not affordable, then why bother? That's the thing. They're not going to. That's the thing. It's just it's at least 20% of people who typically were doing this are, at least those amount, are probably just not going to get healthcare. Because if you can't afford government healthcare, what healthcare can you afford? Truthfully. Because government healthcare is already supposed to be like the bottom of the barrel. You're poor, get some healthcare, you know. If you don't get healthcare from your job that you can afford, because you still do have to pay premiums and such, even if you do work for a business that could provide you healthcare, why would you take it? So you're just gonna have a bunch of people who just don't have healthcare now. That's why the government shut down, is because Democrats were like, no, this is not acceptable. We need those enhanced subsidies programs to try to help people be able to afford this. And the Republicans were like, nah. So that's what the big fight has been over. And 8 Democrats broke the line and voted with them, claiming that they managed to strike a deal where they're going to do a separate vote on protecting the subsidies for the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. I think that's stupid wishful thinking, because why do you think the fuck you die party is going to maintain a little deal that you guys made? They're the fuck you die party. Like, I don't really understand that thought process. That's very naive, in my opinion, to do. It's unfortunate because also this is going to really affect a lot of people in these Republican states because despite what people make out to be about like taking government welfare and taking all this stuff, red states specifically in the South are the welfare queens, as what is referred to colloquially in politics, the welfare queens. Which means that because the red states in the South are some of the, if not the poorest states in the entire country, they are they're the ones where most of their people are the ones taking welfare. And so this is going to just eviscerate all of those people that live in these states. That's what also bothers me is I feel like a lot of Democrats didn't message that this isn't because there's a lot of people that think that this is trying to mess over the people in big blue cities that are like leeching off the government. When in reality, these are the Republicans are literally offering their people up on a silver platter, basically. And they don't realize that. And I think they should have messaged on the fact that they are using you like a sacrificial lamb and they are throwing away any healthcare that you might have. Please call them what they are, Nazis. Oh, plenty of them are. Plenty of them are. Those fucking ass. No, they're horrible. It's horrific. Like a lot of the fucking like we straight up have people who spit white nationalist rhetoric in the Republican Party in office currently. Like it is horrific. Straight up Christo-fascists fighting to keep child marriage legal. Yep. They'll be like, maybe we should look at Obergefell, but also I want to ensure that I can marry a 16-year-old. You know, the party of family values, if you will. As they always like to chow that we're the party of family values. I don't want the values of your family. If that's your family's values, I don't want them. Like your family got fucked up values. I don't like it. And I actually found the 8 senators, the 8 fucking spineless little weasels that broke the line. I ensured that I was gonna get all their names and find out their bullshit ass reasoning because fuck them, piece of shits. Uh, you will be remembered for wanting to sacrifice what little healthcare people have. Because the thing is, this is also something 16 is too old. I prefer 14. Average Republican senator. Average Republican senator quote. Reminds me of the time Elon Musk did a Hitler wave and people like copied the dude. That was crazy. Dude, when people said that it was just him, right? Like, come on. Come on, man. Like, are we being fucking for real? Like, let's be genuinely real. Yeah, gringo over here, why you quoting Matt Gates? Like, what the heck? Um, this is something I care a lot about because I actually am on government, I'm on state healthcare. So I might see potential fallout because there's talks that it might also affect Medicaid. Uh, not just like like it's gonna affect ACA, it could affect Medicaid and Medicare potentially. Um, I'm on Medicaid. I'm on state healthcare. That's the only way I can really help afford my medication. So like I'm kind of fucking nervous because if this causes the Medicaid in my state to raise, then that's gonna really not be great for me because my medication's already expensive and that's how I pay for my prescriptions. So, but you know, I'm like a threat, right? Like I'm the kind of person that needs to be punished. Someone actively trying to get a job, actively doing things to try to like better myself financially. Like I deserve a boot on my head punishing me, right? Like, was it really worth it? You know, at the end of the day, was it worth it? Is that, you know, I think a lot of people have a very specific idea in their mind when they think of the kind of people that are on welfare. And they don't realize that there's people from all walks of life on welfare. But I have all the names of the piece of shits. I have them all. Who can afford healthcare? We have data centers. More data centers. Exactly. More. How dare you mooch off the government? If I could, I'd mooch more. If I could, I'd take more, baby, more. I'll take all of it. They call me the great moocher. I'm taking all the government money, all of it. Unemployment, gimme. Medicaid, yep. I apply for Medicare. I'm not even old enough. Guess what? Still taking it. It's mine. All of it. Every dime, it goes to me and me alone. I actually, this is my secret plan of why I advocate for higher taxes on the rich, because I secretly am the number one. I all the government tax money goes to me. I'm actually a gajillionaire and it goes to me specifically. Not my tax dollars. Yep, your tax dollars goes to funding me buying cinnamon roll and Hololive merchandise. Yep. That is what your tax money's been going to. Been going to me funding VTuber models. That's what your taxes have been going to. Right into my sparkly pocket. God, I wish I could just do some like Dr. Doofenshmirtz, like, give me the tax money, Ray, and then like just sucks money out of the sky. I can't send my tax dollars over the expensive military budget to this, right? You can't give your tax dollars away from turning children into biofuel in Middle Eastern countries by missiling them. You can't do that. You can't take away money from that and give it to me so that I can buy Axel Sirius merch. What the fuck? That's crazy. That's fucked up. Literally, like, crazy that we live in a country where quite literally, if they could, they would want, if they could find a way. We live in the kind of country that if they could turn people into fuel, we 100% would. Like, they 100, if we could turn people into fuel, they would straight up be like, every homeless person, come here. I don't want to give Lockheed Martin money to buy missiles. Why can't I have government funded Yowie instead? The people's Yowie. Exactly. We need the people's Yowie and the people's Yuri. That's what we need. Oh no, not the Matrix. Yeah, if they could, they would. If they could, they would. They so would. Fuck, if Gavin Newsom could, he would. If he could turn homeless people into biomatter, he 100% would. Like, you don't even gotta be a Republican for that. You just gotta be a certain kind of rich person, and that, like, activates their neurons. But the piece of shits who voted, hopefully the House puts up a bit more of a fight. I don't know if they will. I know Bernie Sanders is somewhere shaking his fist real angrily and yelling. I know he's angry somewhere. Frankly, I'm sure if I went to his Twitter, he's probably doing some speech right now, very upset. Because if there's one thing that's gonna fill that old man's heart with rage, it is healthcare being taken away. That's my man. But the piece of shits who voted is we got Senator Angus King of Maine, who's an independent. He said that many people are being hurt by the shutdown. Uh, and the pain had pushed his colleagues to support a deal that would reopen the government without extending the subsidies. Oh man, people are hurting right now, but I'm gonna forget all the people I'm gonna hurt from doing this. That's gonna be way more long-term hurt. We got Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia. Of course we do. Tim Kaine is a fucking demon. Like, of course we have Tim Kaine. We got Senator Dick Durbin. Of course we do. Stupid name, stupid man. He's also retiring, the asshole. Durbin underlined the legislation advance on Sunday night with different one that voted the Democrats 14 times over the course of the shutdown because it's included the provision of reverse layoffs. The bill's not perfect, but it takes important steps to reduce the shutdown's hurt. King of May. Oh, Senator John Fetterman. I hate John Fetterman. I hate John Fetterman so fucking much. John Fetterman fills me with the rage of fucking Kratos. I hate John Fetterman so goddamn much. He fills me with genuine rage when I see his stupid bald ass head or I see even his fucking name. Oh my god. I shouldn't have been shocked that John Fetterman was one of the people. It's just like I try to ignore his existence at this point. Joe Rogan as coded senator. He really is. Okay, so there's some lore. I actually used to ride for John Fetterman back when John Fetterman was initially running for his position and he was like a super cool, like left-leaning dude. And I was like, okay, cool. He's like a dude's dude that's running and he's got like good policies. Okay, sick. And then he had like three fucking strokes and became like he had like three strokes and now he's convinced that he's like a member of the Israeli government or something because he's become like an insane, like Israel is the most important thing on earth kind of guy. And he became basically just like a hard fucking Republican out of nowhere. And the betrayal hurt. It wounded me. It wounded me quite deeply. I thought fondly of you, John Fetterman. And then you wounded me. Uh, his ass should retire. Bye, gringo. Oh, do you want to see before you go, before you go? I'll read through the rest of the names, but also this is how angry I was this morning. I was that angry this morning that I did some graphic design as my passion for the 8 senators that broke the line. Um you can probably tell which one's John Fetterman on this picture. um a pie in the face is at least the minimum of what they deserve for being spineless cowards. Pumpkin Nose, I was pissed in the DMs. I was angry. So, they deserve that at the minimum for what they've done. Welcome to the circus, you clowns. Literally, like, you're just handing them a fucking dub. It's so annoying. We got Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire. She said that there needs to be bipartisan negotiate because also that's the thing, the Republicans are refusing to negotiate until they reverse the shutdown. That's the other thing. Janine Shaheen from New Hampshire. New Hampshire's senator is just L from L. Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, and then Jackie Rosen of Nevada. Nevada and New Hampshire both took L's. Put in the Discord, bet. I got you, bro. I'll put that shit in the Discord. Uh, just for you, I'm gonna do it before I forget. Boom. I put it in the Discord. Just for you, gringo. Just for you. Yeah. I was very upset. If you could not tell. But, you know, is what it is. Uh truthfully, I don't know exactly where we're gonna go from here in terms of the house is gonna be going back to DC. The house has been on break while this has been going on. They're gonna reconvene. Truthfully, I imagine the government's gonna reopen after this because on average, the Senate is the big dog. The Senate is the one that makes the decisions, and the House tends to kind of just follow in suit. I imagine it's gonna reopen, and unfortunately, this is gonna go through. Sadly. Um, I don't. The thing is, that's unfortunate. This was gonna be my big story that I took like probably at least an hour or so to talk on. But I can't really because it's actively like going through a breaking news cycle to the point where like I don't even know where exactly it's gonna go from here. So we could monitor. I'll check back every once in a while to see if anything of noteworthy gets added today. But this story is gonna expand a lot over the week, so this is definitely gonna be something we come back to next week. But yeah, kind of my main like time slot story ended up kind of exploding on me this morning, so we'll have to work around that. But truthfully, that's kind of at the point we're at with the shutdown of just trying to preserve healthcare. Unfortunately, looks like it's not gonna happen. You know, we're just gonna have to see where things go from here. I mean, as I said, it's so good to get a here's what happened so far. Yeah, exactly. It's just I guess it gives us a little bit more time to go a little bit more in depth on some of the other things that we have. But that's kind of the general overview of what's been going on with the shutdown. I know a lot of people have been confused. They didn't really know a lot what's been going on. So I thought it would be good to give just a bit of an overview for those who maybe don't understand, and they haven't really done a good job explaining it on TV, especially because a lot of people don't even know that Obamacare and the ACA are the same thing, so when they hear those two separately, they think they're two separate things. And it was kind of unexpected. I don't think it was warning signs these dorks were gonna cave. Yeah, I really didn't think they were, honestly, but that's my put on my clown makeup for having faith in the Democratic Party for once. So I guess I don't know what I expected, truthfully. Though, good news, but still something to be cautious of. The Supreme Court declines the opportunity to revisit the landmark same sex marriage precedent. So, a case went to the Supreme Court to try to overturn Obergefell. Now, Obergefell is the Supreme Court case that ensures the sanctity of legal gay marriage. It makes it to where like same-sex marriage is legal, it is able to be done, it is protected. The Supreme Court got the opportunity to revisit this case to see if they wanted to overturn it. And the Supreme Court actually declined the opportunity to reanalyze and potentially overturn it, which is a really good thing. That's the good news. However, I feel like there's a lot of people who are taking this as just an instant dub, but there were some things in this article that I'm going to point out. This is a CNN article. That I'm going to point out some quotes that was a bit concerning to me that I think will be kind of a cue of what to watch for as the years go on. So obviously, Obergefell, incredibly important decision. I mean, people were nervous because Roe v. Wade got overturned. Nobody thought Roe v. Wade was actually going to get overturned in the sense that, like, it was so accepted as just a part of you know, that people didn't think it was actually worth it to try to go back and overturn it, but they did. So because they overturned it, that became the fear of, well, they overturned Roe v. Wade. Why? What says they won't overturn Obergefell? Like, Roe v. Wade existed, as mentioned here, that it was a 1973 decision. If they reversed something from the 70s, Obergefell was only 2015. Like, who says they're not going to overturn that? But they actually declined it. And it was from Ken Davis, the former Kentucky county clerk who now faces hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages and legal fees for refusing to issue marriage licenses after the court's decision in Obergefell versus Hodge allowed same-sex couples to marry. Kim Davis is also just a... Kim Davis is a recurring character in this cast of... Kim Davis is... She has tried this so many times. I think this is what? Her third time trying to get Obergefell overturned? Like, I'm pretty sure that, like, since Obergefell went in, she has nonstop been trying to get it overturned. And part of it was literally because of her, because she was refusing to issue marriage licenses and shit like that. Like, she is just a... Doesn't she get anything better to do? No, apparently not. Apparently she doesn't. She's from fucking Kentucky. She doesn't have anything to do. Pumpkin referred to her earlier something in our DMs that made me fucking die of, like, she's like a shitty anime side character, and she 100% is. She's like this shitty side character in an anime that pops up every few episodes to be like, "Mwahaha, I'm back." And you kind of like groan and roll your eyes. That's Kim Davis. I have seen this woman in her fuck ass haircut so many times that I forgot her name, but I know that fucking face. I know her face. I recognize it because that's a face full of just putrid vibes. You recognize a face like that after a while. That's what hate does to you. But they did say that they were not going to overturn it, which is good. She was a Democrat until 2015, weirdly enough. Yeah, and then her brain broke because gay people. That's the thing. There's so many instances of people that were like Democrats or left-leaning people who just one instance or one issue just completely broke their brain and then they become a conservative. Like right now a big one is like trans people. Like the concept of trans people is like breaking so many people's brains for some reason. And they're like, "Oh, I was a left person until I got fifth place in a race or something, and now like my life is dedicated to like trying to ban trans people from existing or something, you know, like weird shit like that. Weird shit like that. She looks like a Karen. She's an omega level threat, like Karen. Like she wants to be higher, but she's not because she's not really successful, but she tries. She tries very hard to be relevant. Kentucky Fried Karen. Basically what's happening to my sister, she's lesbian and a trans woman hit on her and she's still emotionally recovering from the horrific trauma. Oh my god. Uh it's like when a guy is homophobic because a gay dude hit on him or something. Like, calm down, girl. Like, for one, like, you a lesbian and you got hit on by a woman. I don't, you know, you just didn't like that woman. That's fine, but I don't get the issue. I don't understand. I don't. I mean, then again, I'm not gonna understand because I'm not transphobic. I so like I don't understand how that would make you like get this weird vendetta. I just go like, nah, I'm good. Thanks to anyone that I don't like that hits on me, which is like anyone but my boyfriend, you know? Like I don't understand how shit that's such a common trope, I feel like. I don't understand it. So my sister's committed relationship. She could have said I have a girlfriend, but she instead went I only date women. Ew. Yeah, literally, because also that makes it sound like she would be fine with it if it wasn't a trans woman, which is weird. Like, I don't know if she realized that part, that it makes it seem like she would have been cool with, like, being flirted with if it wasn't a trans woman. She was very shocked because she got a negative reaction. I'm like, no shit. Yeah, no shit. You're invalidating someone's existence for some weird, like, arbitrary thing, you know? You could have just said you're not interested. You don't have to mention. Oh, oh my god. Thank you, Mr. Species. That scared the fuck out of me. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Um, that's so ridiculous because that's like the equivalent of like if like you got hit on and then you were like, sorry, I don't want to be hit on you because of like your race or because of something like you're if you say that shit, like I guarantee your sister would not say that to someone's face, you know? I guarantee she would not say that to someone's face. But they feel weirdly comfortable saying something if they think the person is trans. Because also, truthfully, you don't know. You don't know. A lot of people say they know. You don't know. You know, for one. It's just kind of ridiculous because just say you're not interested. You don't have to say whatever weird thing. Just say you're not interested. You don't gotta also like dunk on them and invalidate their feelings at the same time. Like that's just fucked up. Like you're just an asshole for that. And then you can't be surprised Pikachu face that they have a negative reaction. Exactly, I'm heavier and I wouldn't mind if someone said they weren't interested in me, but if they were like, no facts, then it's like, fuck you, actually. Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna comment on someone's if you comment on someone's weight, their race, their gender, there's yeah, you're a dick. Like if you're like, no, if, as a straight woman, if I get hit on by a woman, I'm not gonna be like, you're a girl and I don't like that, so ew. No, I'm just like, oh no, I have a partner, I'm not interested. Because they don't need that. They don't need that. Just tell them no. They don't need that. You don't gotta throw in extra information about why you dislike whatever is going on there. Just say no. That's it. That's all you gotta do. You don't gotta add extra reasoning. You don't gotta throw in extra insults because it is just insulting. Like, like come on now. Don't be that guy. Because also, like, truthfully, I got hit on by so many lesbians when I was like in high school to college. Like, so many lesbians and bisexual women hit on me. Guess what? I just was like, damn, my numbers would have been a lot better if I was into women, but I'm not, so it sucks. Sorry, you're cool, but like I can't really do that. You know? Like I'm flattered. Like, thanks, I'm flattered, but it's kind of funny because like I always got hit on by like lesbians and bisexual women and stuff. Boyfie got hit on by a lot of dudes. So, both of us were kind of like, damn, I mean, I'm flattered. Good to know that if I was bisexual, I would have a crazy numbers, I guess, of people hitting on me, but nah, damn, wish I were bi. Yeah, legitimately, if I actually when I had like my like mini sexuality crisis in high school where I thought I might have been bisexual for like a hot second because I thought this one K-pop idol was hot. Um Legitimately, I think if I would have come out I like kind of came out as bisexual for like a day or two. I think if I actually like realized something about myself and decided to be bisexual, I think every girl in my friend group at the time would have asked me out. All bisexual women who were not very subtle about their feelings. I think every single one of them probably would have. That's just so funny. It reminds me of like my best friend who when I was in high school, she was bisexual. I didn't know at first. I knew she, oh, he's like I knew she was bisexual. I didn't know she had a thing for me, and I felt really bad when I found out. There was an instance where she stayed the night at my house on a school night, and we slept in my bed, and my bed was a twin size bed. So both of us were squished together in a twin size bed for the night. And when I found out that she had a thing for me, I was like, "Oh, that must have been hell on earth for you." Like that I am so sorry. Like if I would have known, I would have had us take like my brother's old bed, which is bigger, just for your sake because and she was like, "Oh no, I didn't sleep that entire night. I was just staring at the ceiling like what is my life? What is this? What's going on here? I'm sleeping in a twin size bed with the girl I have a crush on, and she doesn't know it because she's stupid and straight and dumb." So when I found that out, I was like, I am so sorry, girly. I would have picked the bigger bed for your sake. My friends were all like bi girls and then ace girls. That was like the girls that I was friends with. But yeah, it just reminds me of that. Funny, weird little funny tangent, but yeah, that was I kind of had those instances a lot with the girlies I knew where I would do things and then I would like realize afterwards like that must have been really rough for them to like fight the panic in the moment and they were like, "Yup, no, it sucked. That was pretty hellish. Thanks." Um, but back to the court case of the Supreme Courts with potentially overturning with their rejection to overturn Obergefell. So the reason I mentioned that like it is good news, but there is still something concerning about it. The concerning thing for me, actually, and this is just going over the fact that the Supreme Court also now is significantly conservative leaning, which contributes to the worry that if it did go to the possibility of Obergefell being overturned, then it would definitely be overturned because the court swings conservative and like they swing hard conservative. So it doesn't look like they would, vote for it. They would probably immediately strike it down. So this section of the article is just going through like some of the past people, um, like who replaced them, like Amy Coney Barrett, all these people. But what I noticed that was nervous for me, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, here we go. Several conservative justices have signaled in recent weeks that there was no great appetite to reopen Obergefell. Barrett told the New York Times last month that there are very concrete reliance interests at stake when it comes to same-sex marriage. Alito, while criticizing the president broadly during an address in Washington earlier this fall, stressed that it was the president of the court that is entitled to respect the afforded the doctrine of the stare decisis. Legal shit. Okay. The reason that terminology was a bit concerning to me is there's no great appetite to reopen. That's concerning phrasing to me because to me that signals that if the party deems that it's time, they would be willing to do it. To me, that signals that it's not something that they're not saying they're not going to look at it and reopen it because they don't want to, but rather because they know that's the society currently. No, there's not many Americans who genuinely give a fuck and want Obergefell overturned, you know? So it kind of signals to me more of a they're waiting for when they think that it's a bit more acceptable potentially. And then they might try it, which is something that a lot of advocacy groups have been talking about for a hot minute now. That's why, especially with like it mentions kind of the hot button issue right now, instead of being gay marriage is a lot of trans issues right now because trans people are like the hot button LGBT focus right now, not gay or lesbian, bisexual people. Well, cis het ones, because obviously you can be trans and still be one of those people. Uh, Kind of the focus on that and why like a lot of people especially have been getting after like gay Republicans that are, transphobic and like anti-trans is that, well, right now it's more socially acceptable to go after trans people, so they're gonna do that. But if they actually manage to successfully do that, what do you think's gonna happen once they, deal with it? Who do you think they're going back for, bud? Like, you think that they're just gonna stop and be super chill with you? Do you think that you earned your one of the good ones status? Like, no, you didn't. I can tell you that right now. No, you did not. So, kind of right now, they're doing a lot of focus on trans issues and trying to like stop trans people from getting access to like hormones and sports and stupid shit that truthfully just does not fucking matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, who cares what a college student wants to play, you know? I love guys like my dad who don't give a single shit about women's sports, talking about the sanctity of women's sports, even though the only time they watch women's sports is they watch the freaking volleyball tournament during the Olympics to watch them in bikinis. Like those are the kind of guys who are talking about like we need to protect the sanctity, like okay, come on now. Like let's be honest with ourselves here. Are you really? No, I don't think you really are. But it is still overall good news because any time that we can ensure protection for Obergefell is good news. I just am hoping that it stays good news. But I don't put anything past the conservatives, so I keep a watchful eye out. That's kind of my metric. I explained to someone that why trans non-binary gets lumped into LGBT, and it's because we all challenge gender norms, and anything that challenges gender norms challenges the status quo. Exactly, and also truthfully, like, why wouldn't they be there? You know, are you gonna exclude Marsha P. Johnson from gay history? Like, who do you think threw the brick? Like, let's be honest here. Like, trans people, especially trans women, have been a backbone of the community for a long, long time. So it's a bit, oh shit, sorry, I kicked the fuck out of my desk. It's a bit ridiculous to try to exclude people from the community who were there building the community, and we're protecting them and we're, you know, doing all these things. Like it's a bit ridiculous to all of a sudden then act as if they have no right to be there when truthfully a lot of them predated other groups in the community, you know? Like there's other groups that came after, but you're not going to see them getting excluded. You can't I think that there's a lot of people nowadays who when shit gets tough, they would rather cut whatever is being attacked out of the group instead of having to fight for it. And truthfully, it's like, well, then just you would not have been the kind of person, despite the fact that you LARP as some kind of like revolutionary, you wouldn't have actually been one of the people fighting out there. And that's, kind of fine. Not everyone has to be. I'm not some like militia revolutionary per se, you know? Like, I don't have that in me to do that, but I'm not gonna LARP as it. And I'm damn well not gonna throw marginalized people to the wolves for my comfort. I notice a lot of like, because obviously, like, I'm not LGBT. I mean, I'm like kind of ace spectrum-y if I had to say something, like, kind of feel kind of. I kind of connect with that a little bit, but at the same time, like, I don't really care. Like, I kind of connect with it, but I'm also like, I feel like that meme of like the like I think I might be non-binary, but I got a job right now, so like that's kind of how I feel. Like, you know, it kind of resonates with me a bit, but at the same time, like, you know, like, I think that as a woman, because that's my main group, that's like marginalized is the fact that I'm a woman. It hurts my heart, and because I am a white woman, I'm a straight white woman. So even though I am a woman, I'm still in terms of like privilege at the top of the pyramid there. It hurts my heart seeing how many fellow cishet white women like me will just throw people to the wolves for any semblance of comfort, of any semblance of everything's fine. I don't have to acknowledge that things aren't fine, you know? Any protecting the status quo because the status quo isn't as harsh on them as it is others, you know? It hurts my heart. I see it a lot. And that's why I do understand the kind of why we're not seen the same as a lot of other women groups that are even cishet, because we do kind of have a habit of a lot of us do throw people to the wolves, unfortunately. So that's a behavior I've just examined a lot with women in general. That's something women have done for a long, long time. I feel like that's something I'm starting to notice that a lot of like gay Republicans and things like that are trying to do to like trans people right now. Like, I recognize that pattern of behavior because I see women do it all the time, of kicking someone off the pole because they're doing the Scar Mufasa bit to trans people as if that's gonna save them, as if at the end of the day they're still not something that those people hate, you know? Like, they'll get to you eventually, you know. This is only gonna make it worse for yourself because you're just getting rid of any allies that you could have. I don't know. That's kind of my little soapbox moment of just like stick up for your fellow communities. Truly, community resistance is the best thing that we as a society can do. It's made me feel a lot more confident seeing the community resistance that's been against the ICE raids. That's made my heart really happy seeing how people have been standing up for their neighbors. That's truly our biggest strength that we have for our society. So Chicago, yeah, JB Pritzker, my boy, is getting so much aura right now from telling citizens to protect each other and giving them full process to do so. Half my family, hell yeah. Watching Caitlyn Jenner call other trans people slurs, yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, that's kind of how I feel when sometimes when I see the women in my family with their conservative husbands who I can tell sometimes don't fully see them as people. And I'm like, you're really fine with this and you talk down on others just because you have a McMansion and a decently nice car. Like, that's your fulfilling life, that you're willing to sacrifice like any semblance of like humanity and goodwill that you have. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of nutty. But you know, it is what it is. They make their bed and they will lie in it. So, hydrate. Are you saying that because my voice is cracking like a 13-year-old boy? Because it is for some reason. but I will hydrate. I don't know why my voice has been cracking so much when I stream. I don't know why it doesn't do that normally, but then I start streaming, I'm like, huh. It's so bad. I don't know what's going on. But that is basically the story of what's been going on with Obergefell right now. Thankfully, nothing bigger because that would be heartbreaking and I would probably cry on stream. Um, okay, Hakeem Jeffries is speaking right now. Okay, so yeah, it looks like the House is getting together to talk about the shutdown. Appears what's going on. Yeah, that appears to be what's happening. So we'll definitely come back to the government shutdown story next Monday because a lot's going to be going on. Now, a weirder story that well, not a weirder per se, but it's like a niche story that I don't think a lot of you besides probably Pumpkin, because Pumpkin's also really into politics like I am, might have known, which is the cattle rancher story that's going on regarding beef prices. This is an interesting one that I wanted to talk about because I feel like a lot of people are kind of missing this story and don't really know anything about it because you're like, why am I gonna look into beef prices? That's kind of a boring thing to do on my free day. Beef prices? Yep. For beef, I have cattle ranches in my family in Oregon. It's wild. Yep. So, President Donald Trump is planning to bring beef prices down in the US by importing more of it from Argentina. Prices are way down in our country. The only cost that's really up is beef, Trump said, which is a lie. In the Oval Office, October 22nd, per Reuters, we're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. Trump also seems to talk about cattle ranchers directly on October 22nd to a social post saying that they were doing well due to his tariffs and calling on them to lower prices. Cattle prices are up, but an expert previously told USA Today it was a result of several events that have occurred over recent years. Also, meat packers largely set the prices consumers pay for beef, not ranchers. Part of the solution to address the beef problem prices is to quadruple imports of beef from Argentina. Federal agencies also released a longer plan meant to strengthen the American beef industry, including speeding up deregulation. That's great. Also, hello, hello, hello. Also, your username is so cute. I used to listen to that song all the time with my mom. Speeding up deregulation on beef. Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds like it's gonna be great for us, doesn't it? But Trump's announcement comes after the United States announced a substantial financial bailout to Argentina. The leadership style of Argentina's president has been compared to that of Trump and Elon Musk. But the move has raised complaints from cattle ranchers around the country. This is what they have to say. What does Argentina have to do with beef prices? The beef price was so random, though. It is, but it's like, okay, here's the thing. The reason I wanted to talk about this story is because I think this is a really good instance of there's a lot of shit going on that you're just usually not aware of. Because, like, you're not a rancher, I'm not a rancher, only Pumpkin's got family that's ranchers. We're not really gonna think about this. But this is something that's, like, directly affecting our agricultural industry. Yeah, beef is actually one of the things we're best at producing. Exactly. It's affecting our agricultural industry, which is an interesting thing because I will get into this. Trump was like a big I'm for agriculture guy. Um, Here he is, to put it bluntly, fucking them over majorly. Because a pound of beef cost $6.33 on average in September 2025 compared to the 5.58 the same month last year. Argentina accounts for 2.1% of beef imports and can ship up to 20,000 metric tons a year at lower tariff prices, according to the US Department of Agriculture. Any amount above that is subject to a 26.4 tariff. The Trump administration plans to raise that quota to 80,000 metric tons, allowing more Argentinian beef to be imported at reduced tariffs. With how Trump screwed over agricultural people in America, yep, majorly. There's no way ranchers can stay profitable with the rising costs of everything. Yep. In the past 5 years, Argentina has shipped more than $800 million in beef products to the United States while only purchasing $7 million of U.S. beef, a trade imbalance that will only worsen under Trump's plan, according to the National Cattle Beef Association. If President Trump is an ally of America's cattle producers, we call on him to abandon this effort to manipulate markets, the CEO of Colin Woodwall of NCBA, the National Cattle Beef Association, said in a statement. The tariffs passed for Argentina come shortly after the Trump administration's 20 billion currency swap, with a potential other 20 billion in aid for the country that has been facing an economic crisis. This is kind of going into them bailing out uh some stuff for them, but this is what I really wanted to get to is the cattle ranchers around the US weigh in on the Argentina import. From Wisconsin, Wisconsin's Farmer Union Executive Director Danielle Envek, who raises beef, cattle, and chickens on her family's ranch, told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, part of USA Today Network, the deal can be particularly hard on cattle ranchers in Wisconsin. That's because the majority of cattle ranchers in the state operate on a cow-calf model, where a permanent herd of beef cows raise calves from birth to weaning before the calves are sold to other operations, including feedlots. A lot of us haven't sold our calf crop yet. The entire paycheck for a beef farmer often happens towards the end of the year. Even though he said he was going to lower grocery prices, man, don't get me started on that. It's crazy to me that he threatens to cancel funding for New York just because the new guy is most likely going to win is going to lower the grocery prices and such. Oh, we're going to get to Zohran. We're going to end with Zohran because Zohran is some hopium, and I feel like we deserve that after all of this. Art of the deal. Yeah. Yeah. Florida ranchers say the president's move to buy more beef from Argentina will harm the state's cattle industry. Florida currently ranks 13th in overall cattle numbers nationwide. Jara Ann Corson, the eighth-generation cattlewoman in Central Florida, told the Tallahassee Democrat, part of the USA Network, that their amount of beef they're going to import will not fix the problem of prices, but could open the door for beef imports from all over the world, which could be a safety issue. The Florida Cattlemen's Association said in a statement that tight cattle supplies and high input costs are driving the increase in prices. Drought in the western and midwestern states also have increased prices. And in South Florida, the biggest threat to the cattle industry is development, Corson added. She said there are other ways to tackle the problems. I feel the pain in the grocery store with the rest of America, and so trying to lower the price of beef in grocery stores is putting Americans first. But we need to be careful how we do so it doesn't hurt American ranchers in the process. Oklahoma has nearly 2 million cattle and cows dedicated to beef at the start of 2025 and continues to produce the second highest number in beef cows nationwide. But deals involving President Donald Trump may impact the way it's sold sooner in the Sooner state. Rhett Lake previously told the Oklahoman that in the past 2 months his ribeyes and fillets have gone up 33% and that he has started to eat the cost increase by lowering his profit margin. Now he says that he has to adjust the prices accordingly. I'm purchasing the same amount I always have, he said. I'm having to write a much bigger check than what I used to, and unfortunately, my customers are having to pay 25 to 30% more than what they're used to paying. And I'm apologizing to everyone that comes in, but my customers understand. Isn't he, in turn, making people lose their jobs by importing the target they're making the food in America? The real scheme is making farmers go bankrupt so real estate corporations can buy up them all for pennies. So yes, those are all of the ones that I wanted to get into of Tennessee, Oklahoma, Florida, and Wisconsin, because I think hearing the words from the ranchers and the butchers that are purchasing the meat directly is really good. So basically what is occurring, you're spot on, Crusader, and also your point, Pumpkin, is very true, as mentioned in the Florida thing about development. So this is an issue because cattle ranchers are already struggling in general. The agriculture department is already struggling, especially also agriculture, especially on the farming side, is going to struggle with the increase in ICE rates because a lot of them use undocumented labor for their farm work. But specifically focusing on the rancher side here and beef ranchers. So, as mentioned in the Wisconsin section, a lot of them will raise a group of calves and then sell them off at once, which is typically at the end of the year. If this goes in now, it's going to basically tank the prices. And no, they're not going to need to buy as many calves, and they're probably not going to want to buy as many calves for as high a price. So they're going to get completely cucked over from their yearly check that they rely on to then raise the next group of calves for the next year. Because why would you pay more for the good old American beef when you can just get the Argentinian beef, you know? Because 20,000 doesn't seem like a ton until you realize the fact that it's 20,000 metric tons. It's not 20,000 pounds, it's 20,000 tons. And that's currently. And he's talking about increasing it to allow them to do 80,000 without tariffs, increased tariffs. So effectively, why would these companies need to buy American beef? You know? And if the Argentinian beef keeps the prices down, then the voting base doesn't care what happens to the ranchers. Exactly. So it is basically cucking them out of the job. And then, like you mentioned, another thing with the development aspect of a lot of it is true that if ranchers go out of business and they have to sell the ranch, real estate developers can buy it and then take all the land and develop it into something. So it is kind of a scheme. Because why does it matter if we have Argentinian beef, you know? And something I wanted to bring up because I think this is another fascinating thing. Where is it? Here it is. Farm counties have voted unanimously for Trump pretty much in the past. That's the unfortunate thing. All of these are counties that are registered as like farm counties, ranch counties. They all pretty much vote for Republicans. The reason I wanted to mention this is because it kind of gets into the lions eating my face party. Oh no, I voted for the lions eating my face, another lion is eating my face, and I'm shocked. Unfortunately, the reason I wanted to talk about this story is because it kind of gets into the common problem of we're going to vote for the Republicans because they tell us XYZ thing, but we don't actually have a lot of knowledge on a lot of the fucked up shit that they're doing. So we don't know that and know to vote against it. A lot of these farmers and agricultural workers might not have the time or the knowledge to know every single thing because also you might not be a beef rancher. You know, you could be a rancher that deals in mutton. You could be, you know, a farmer, not a rancher. You're not necessarily going to be monitoring each specific trade of food. So you might miss these kind of things and then end up voting for the party that did that and screwed you over because you just didn't know. And it goes to show that, yes, would this in the process probably lower the money? Yes, but at the same time, he promised lowering groceries while also focusing on American made, not Argentinian made. So that's the kind of reason I wanted to talk about this story in particular and kind of also highlight the fact that most of these people voted for him. These are people that trusted him for some reason. But they did. And this is what he does in response. This is what the Republicans do in response. Because I really want to highlight just this aspect of it doesn't matter if you support them unconditionally, they will still do things to screw you over. Because agriculture pretty much unanimously votes Republican every single election, and they get screwed over no matter what, unfortunately. And this just shows that the Trump administration is not an ally to ranchers. Do I think this is going to stop them from voting in the next election for Republicans? No. I think they're going to do the same thing. Do I think that they deserve to have their businesses crumble because of it? No, I don't. Because I like to believe that it's because they don't have the knowledge and the critical thinking to really think about these kind of things. But it is an unfortunate aspect. It is a story that typically would not gain a lot of attention because who gives it's beef, who cares? You know, a lot of the senators from like Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas, Iowa, they have come out and tried talking about it because this is what they come from. You know, these are a big thing for their states. A lot of these are states in the Midwest that we don't really talk about as much, like Iowa and Kansas and Nebraska. Like, who lives in Nebraska? Really, you know, we don't think about these kind of states. But this is something that is important to them, and it's important to still kind of highlight, even if it's not something that directly affects us in a lot of ways. And it kind of also is to give kind of some insight that if you go to the grocery store and you randomly one day see that something you like is normally a lot cheaper than it was previously, there's a reason for that. And maybe now you'll look into what could have been the reason. You know, was it actually just, oh, the price went down? Or was it something like we do mass imports now, or we switched our production from US to overseas, or what is it exactly? Because there is always something behind the price. It shows how little they actually care about making America self-sufficient. They don't care whatsoever. Because truthfully, that's also another thing, is just the agriculture. Agriculture is the most important industry for any nation. We don't care about our agriculture whatsoever, which is really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for those who work in agriculture because we truly just don't care about them, which is sad, but that's kind of unfortunately the reality. But that was my fun little beef story. I hope it was able to give some insight onto an industry that many of you might not have looked into before or considered looking into before. But it is an important one because agriculture is something that affects all of us because, you know, we like to eat. Eating's pretty good. Eating's pretty chill. Um, I assume a lot of y'all like hamburgers. I do. I like burgers, you know. I want to have some. But now you might be eating some Argentinian burgers. You don't know. So if you go to the store and you see that the beef you're getting comes from Argentina, now you know why. Ding. Alright, so should we get into some fun news? Should we finally get into some fun news? Some hopium, some good news? Man, if America ever gets embargoed from the rest of the world, we're screwed. Oh, we're so fucked. We import so much shit. We're so fucked. The beef price was interesting. Yay! Okay, I'm glad. I want to, when we do news, I'm trying my hardest to go into some stories that might not be getting as much. Oh! Oh, oh, thank you, Pumpkin! Yay! Let's go! Now you're one of us. I don't know why I lifted my hands above my head and did like a hand, like an arm heart. I don't know why I did that, as if you guys can see that, but I did that. Girls just want to have fun. Yes, that does need a ribbon. It does need a pretty pink ribbon. Absolutely. Well, good. We got some good things. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get some more stories that might fly under the radar that I still think are important to talk about because I think that'd be fun. But let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about someone fun because I didn't get to talk about it in much in the moment because we weren't doing news, but Zohran Mamdani has won his bid for New York mayor. Yippee. So I wanted to talk about Zohran because I feel like he's a really interesting candidate and a really important candidate right now in politics. I think it's refreshing to hear him talk about that. Hell yeah. And truthfully, I think we just need some hope. I think we need some hope right now, and Zohran might inject some of that for us. You live in New York City and you're very happy. Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I've I've been monitoring. Okay, so fun fact, I've been monitoring Zoran since he was polling at 1%. That's how long I've been monitoring this dude. Since he was a no-name guy polling at 1%, and I have watched him grow and grow and grow. The thing that makes me so I was a little nervous because as mentioned, I used to, think John Fetterman was cool and then he did the Great Betrayal. And that did make me a bit calloused a bit. But one thing about Zoran that's made me rather confident in him is since I have been following him since he was polling at about 1%, he's been saying the same thing that he said at 1% that he said since he's won. He's not changed his policy, he's not changed his wording, he's not changed his presentation. He's been the same guy when he had no support versus when he had all the support. And I think that is really a good show to me of his character. And I'm confident in this dude, and this dude injects some hope into my veins. So we're gonna play his little I won video because I think it's cute. So I'm gonna play that for you guys.
Good morning, New York City.
He's such a cutie
Last night we
patootie
voted,
too.
and today we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is the period over the next few months where we build a city hall that delivers on the promises of our campaign, to make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves. As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government, and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and a hunger to solve old problems with new solutions. Talking to organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what our neighborhoods deserve. And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency. Because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day, and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work.
In the end that it says originally it went for Zoran for New York City, now it's a new era for New York City. His campaign is a masterclass, legitimately. Like, actual masterclass campaign. Already love this man. He's so charismatic. He's so freaking sweet, too. But he won, baby. He beat Andrew Cuomo's fucking predator ass. Like, Andrew Cuomo, sexual assaulter who's gonna kill your grandma. So, he beat him out. Let's go. Hell yeah, that's what I love to hear. We love voting in local elections. I always tell people the president is important, but you have to vote for more than just the president. You have to vote for your senator and your representatives. Vote for your mayors, vote for your governors. It is so important. That makes my heart so happy. Hell yeah, I'm so happy. But Zoran did win. He got 50% of the vote. Shout out to Curtis Silva for staying in there purely as the fuck you Andrew Cuomo candidate. I respect that. I respect that he did that. And the reason I wanted to talk about Zoran is because for one, Zoran is a leftist. He has said to himself that he's a democratic socialist. He's a leftist like myself. And he did a full grassroots campaign, so all of his stuff pretty much came from word of mouth and from donations from people. Staten Island disgusts me. Dude, do you want to know how bad my family is? One of my aunts was a Staten Island resident. She moved there and lived on Staten Island. Can confirm, just the worst. She called me once during COVID and told me that wearing masks is a hoax. And mind you, I have asthma, so during COVID I was counted as an immunocompromised person because of it. And she literally called me to tell me that masks were fake, basically, like during COVID. Like, yeah, she was totally one of those Staten Island, like, sat and I sit in my castle and, like, think downly on everyone else. My $2 million house. Like, yeah, I just remember being on the phone and just being like, okay, sure. I don't know what to say. Okay, I don't know what to say to this. What do I say to this? You know, I just kind of waited for the call to end. I was like, what do I say to in response to this man? So even though I have never been to New York, I really want to go to New York. I did have a relative who lived in Staten Island for about 20 years, and she was the worst. So I believe you that Staten Island sucks. I believe you on that. I believe you fully on that Staten Island probably sucks really bad. But something, since we have talked about Zohran in the past, and I have glazed him in the past, I wanted to specifically actually go through his policy because we didn't do that last time. Because I didn't talk about him. I talked about his campaign strategy more, but this time I want to actually just talk about his policies because truthfully, if he does deliver, this will not only be an insanely huge, amazing thing for the people that live in New York City, but hopefully it will be an inspiration throughout the country. A lot of people in New York City don't consider Staten Island part of a borough. I get that. And he has it broken up into housing, safety, affordability, early childhood and development, pain, art, agenda, climate, LGBT, healthcare, labor, small business, libraries, Trump proofing. So for housing, rent freeze. Oh my God, wait, oh my God, he actually did this? Oh, that's, God, he's so good. He made it to where you can watch like a little TikTok video of him explaining each one of his policies on his account. That's so clever. That's so smart. Oh my God, he's so good. It was about time for my city to get a new mayor and one that's not 8,000 years old too. Because also, I am so sorry that you had to deal with Eric Adams. I am so sorry about that. Um, but he wants to do a rent freeze. Majority of New Yorkers are tenants. More than 2 million of them live in rent-stabilized apartments. These homes should be bedrock of economy security for our city's working class. Instead, Eric Adams has taken every opportunity to squeeze tenants with his hand-picked appointees to the Rent Guidelines Board, jacking up rents on stabilized apartments by 12.6% and counting. Zohran will immediately freeze rent for all stabilized tenants and use every available resource to building new housings for New Yorkers that need and bring down the rent. The number one reason working families are leaving our city is the housing crisis. The mayor has the power to change. Yeah, that was rough. It's okay. I'm from Texas, so I know all about dealing with local government that sucks and dealing with state government that sucks. So, I used to live in Texas, so I get it. As mentioned, building affordable housing. He wants to construct a mayor Zohran will put our public dollars to work and triple the city's production of permanently affordable union-built, rent-stabilized homes, constructing 200,000 new units over the next 10 years. So he wants to do, which also, shout out to the union built, love that as well. But rent stabilization is a really big thing for him. He wants to implement more protections for renters and basically kind of fix the board so that landlords that are trying to squeeze people dry and have them live in horrible conditions can actually um get the protections that they need and they can get punished for it. And then deed theft, which is an interesting thing. But yeah, supporting homeowners and then trying to help against deed theft, which is like a form of kind of like tax fraud, essentially. This is one that was really exciting for me. Department of Community Safety. All New Yorkers deserve to be safe, but the Adams administration has failed to deliver a sense of safety and security that everyone feels should be walking down our streets, riding our subways, and taking our buses. Zohrran will create the Department of Community Safety to prevent violence before it's happening by prioritizing solutions which have been shown to improve safety. Police have a critical role to play, but right now we're relying on them to deal with the failures of our social safety nets, which prevents them from doing their actual jobs. Through this new city agency, a whole of government approach, community safety will be prioritized like never before. The department will invest in citywide mental health programs and crisis response, including deploying dedicated outreach workers in 100 subway stations, providing medical services in vacant commercial units, increasing transit ambassadors to assist New Yorkers on their journeys, expand evidence-based gun violence prevention programs, and increase funding to hate violence protection programs by 800%. That, to me, is really important, that he's going to try to make it to where they have better mental health services and that they can deploy basically social workers instead of just deploying cops. Because it hurts my heart the amount of mentally ill people that get killed by police officers because they have a crisis on the subway or something like that. This man is such a breath of fresh air plucked from my dreams. Yeah, he really is. He really is. Also, I'm pretty positive his transition team is all women, and one of them is the former Federal Trade Commissioner. I think her name is Linda Khan, I believe is her name. Leah Khan. She was a big, like, anti-buster for the Federal Trade Commission. So she will definitely, it seems, carry through with his fucking up rich people idea, which is really good. We love that. We love making sure rich people can't get away with shit. Another really big one that I'm excited about, if he can do it, because I would love this and more things, is city-owned grocery stores. Food prices are out of control. Nearly 9 in 10 New Yorkers say that cost of groceries is rising faster than their income. Only the very wealthiest aren't feeling squeezed at the register. As mayor, Zohrran will create a network of city-owned grocery stores, focusing on keeping prices low, not making a profit. Without having to pay rent or property taxes, they will reduce overhead and pass on savings to shoppers. They will buy it and sell at wholesale prices, centralize warehousing and distribution, and partner with local neighborhoods on products and sources. With New York City already spending millions of dollars in subsidizing private grocery store operators, which are not even required to take SNAP and WIC, which are food assistance programs, we should redirect public money to real public option. That, to me, is so, so great. The state grocery stores, and the fact that he's talking about taking the money that they already give to the private grocery stores and just reallocating it to the public ones is so smart, because it's already proving that the money already exists and is going somewhere. Why don't we just orientate it to where it should be going instead? Fast fare free buses. Dude, this one, not gonna lie, this one made me like ascend a little bit because I love public transit so much. But basically he wants to make buses safer, he wants to make buses quicker, and he wants to make buses free, baby. Uh, I love buses. I love trains. If America can get a train network, I would be the happiest camper. I love trains. I love trams. I love buses. I love public transport. Our government city hotels are already trying to block the buses free. Ugh, of course they are. Of course they are. When I was in college, I had to take the tram, which, for those who don't know, a tram is like, it's kind of like a train car on a cable that gets like that rides on like a little rail system throughout the city. That's basically what it is. I had to ride that from my college campus into the city for my job when I worked in the city for something. It cost like $1.30 each way for the bus, which Doesn't seem like a lot, but when I'm going multiple times a week, that's like $10 in bus fare for the week. And I was a broke college student who was surviving on, I'm not joking, I was typically surviving on $40 a week on average. Purely because I was getting money from my boyfriend. And I was getting $40 or $50. Could I have asked him for more money? Yes, but I didn't want to burden him. So I told him that was fine. That was what I was surviving on. That was already like what, a fourth or a fifth of my food money, because that's all I spent my money on was food pretty much. Just on bus fare, essentially, on tram fare. If I had it free, it would have made my life so much less stressful instead of having to panic so much. I had to ride the rail buses when I lived there in Phoenix. It was wild, but I love how cheap it was. Yeah, I liked it. I actually liked writing it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. The people were so nice. Like they were just chill. But it just got to the point where it was like I had to sometimes, like there was one day where I didn't have money for a ticket. So I tried to get on without a ticket, and that was the day that the police came and they went onto the train and they started going through everybody's thing to make sure they had a ticket, and I didn't have one, and so I got written up an actual ticket and I had to pay like $90 for it. And I had to also pay the additional fare to go all the way downtown to the DMV basically or whatever to like pay my ticket. Yeah. So crazy that we just had cops that spent their day going on a fucking bus and checking if someone has a fucking ticket instead of, doing something actually useful when you could just have it be free. And it's so stupid. And it's so unfortunate. And it's a main way to do it is to keep homeless people off of it. That's a main reason they do it. Because there's a whole lot of homeless people in the area, and homeless people can't afford the amount of, you know, fare. They do the same thing over here. It sucks. I saw a guy pull out a katana and get tased at the Phoenix Light Rail near a certain college campus. Okay, that's pretty awesome though. Lots of homeless people at the stations, yeah. It's because they don't want the homeless people being able to get on and like travel. Because truthfully, that's like the main, like they can't afford it, unfortunately. Because there were, and the thing is, like, there were plenty of homeless people. That's the other thing, too. At least the cops that where I used to live have a really bad reputation. Well, let's be honest, they are not that busy. They're not, but here's the thing. I rode the tram with many homeless people, and I rode the tram with some clearly mentally ill people. Like, and I'm not saying I'm mentally ill, so I feel comfortable saying that. When I hear people mumbling to themselves and like picking at themselves, I can tell like, okay, they're either mentally ill or they're probably a tweaker, like they're probably just an addict or something. I rode the tram with people like that. As a solo woman going to work at 6 in the morning, I felt infinitely safer on the tram normally than when the fucking police got on the tram. every time like the cops got on the tram, I got nervous, man, because where I'm from, they're known for being trigger happy as hell. And I feel it makes me nervous because I know there's a homeless guy 2 seats down from me, and I'm like, fuck, they're gonna be a dick to him. And then what happens? They act like a dick to him. And it's like, man, he's already going through it. Like, Jesus Christ. It's not like he can stay on it forever. Just let him go where he's gotta go. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's freaking freezing outside. Like, come on now. Like, let's have some humanity. But apparently that's a little too much to ask of piggies. So, you know, who am I to be a fool, I guess. But Yeah, I would love for free public transport, like especially at least free buses. I think that would be such a beneficial thing, especially for a city like New York that isn't as car reliant as other places. Because I also just wish America wasn't so car reliant in general. Or at least if we were going to be car reliant, we should invest in our own, like, nation auto motors instead of just investing in foreign companies. Because as someone who recently had to get a car, it was crazy to me finding out that all the best car brands are foreign. And like the American ones aren't that good because we just don't care, really. Um, Fighting exploitation is a big one. By basically tightening consumer protections, ending corporate handouts, and making it to where there can't be predatory contracts and hidden fees and advertising. That's another one for him. We let Japan really eat our lunch in that department. Dude, I found out recently that Toyota was Japanese. I didn't know that Toyota was Japanese. I didn't know until I went to buy a fucking car. I didn't know that they were. I thought I. My dumbass thought that they were American. I didn't even know that. Like, that blew my fucking mind that Toyota was a Japanese company. I did not know that at all. I know I feel like I should have. They make so many trucks, it totally confuses Americans. The reason I didn't know that is because my stupid ass family like swear by Toyotas. And I'm like, well, they're stupid and dumb, so they probably like it must be like some American yeehaw kind of company because they live and die by by Toyotas. Like they're not even like Ford people, they're Toyota people. And then I get to the Toyota dealership and I see freaking like I see a Japanese flag next to the name and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm stupid." Toyota. I'm stupid. Oh my God. I'm so dumb. How did I not make that connection? I should have thought about the fact that an American company would not be above 2 syllables because that's too difficult. Like, I'm stupid. Yeah, that was something I learned recently that was a bit interesting. Yeah, Toyota. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I'm stupid. Dang it. Dang it. Some really interesting policies that he has though that's really exciting, even though I don't plan on having kids. This is very exciting for those in New York that do or are. No cost childcare. After rent, the biggest cost for New Yorker working families is childcare. It's literally driving them out of the city. New Yorkers with children under 6 are leaving at double the rates of others, and the burden falls heaviest on mothers who are giving up paying jobs to do unpaid childcare. Zohran will implement free childcare for every New Yorker aged 6 weeks to 5 years, ensuring high quality programming for all families. And he will bring up wages for childcare workers, a quarter of whom live in poverty, to be at parity with public school teachers. And it will foster early childhood development, save parents money, and keep our families in the city they call home. Which I want to see. Can I? Yeah. This one too. Baby baskets for New Yorkers. Each year, 125,000 New Yorkers are born across the city, but the cost of living crisis makes it difficult for new families to give them a healthy start. Building on the success of more than 90 similar programs across the world, the Mamdani administration will provide new parents and guardians with a collection of essential goods and resources free of charge, including items like diapers, baby wipes, nursing pads, postpartum pads, swaddles, and books. Each New York City baby basket will include a resource guide on information on the city's newborn home visiting program, breastfeeding, postpartum depression, and more. These are critical resources for combating postpartum maternal mortality and increasing trust in government as well. At less than $20 million a year, it's a relatively small investment with potentially huge rewards for healthy development of the family stability, as demonstrated by countless programs around the globe. This one is so cool. I agree. This one is so lovely because I love that he points out that again, $20 million does think that it does sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of budgeting, it's not. It's really not. As someone who worked in a local office, it's not. $20 million is not a lot of money. It costs $100 to $300,000 to fix a tiny stretch of road. So $20 million truthfully is not that much money when it's in the prospect of city. Hold on, I'm gonna clear my throat. It doesn't, it seems like a lot, but it's not. And the amount of money, like, yes, the amount of money it will save people, because I think also what was so lovely to me is including this stuff about breastfeeding and postpartum depression. That is so genuinely lovely to me to do because, for one, breastfeeding is important because even though, like, some people don't breastfeed, for those that do, sometimes, like, babies don't latch and things like that, and it can be really stressful for those who do want to breastfeed. Having information on it that can include stuff like, oh, that's kind of normal, babies do sometimes do that, things like that, that'll save a lot of mental stress on parents. And the postpartum depression is great because that'll just help so many people that are struggling, not only like new mothers, but also even like spouses that might not understand, family members that might not be able to understand. They can read that and gain like the information to be able to potentially help. And I just think that's so, so good. Like, that's such a genuinely thing. Yeah, and it is a thing that Scandinavian countries do. It makes total sense because also, like, we can't, like, one of the things they talk about is that, like, the birth rate, I guess, is dropping in America. Well, the birth rate will go up if we actually make it to where people can viably have children and take care of their children, you know? Because why, like, I don't want to have a kid just because I don't want to have a child. But even if I did want to have a kid, I still wouldn't because of how expensive it is, truthfully. And that I feel like is a routine opinion I've seen of people of like, I want a kid, but it's too expensive. So there's no point. I wouldn't be able to provide or something like that. So make it to where they can. And then he has a section here for K through 12. Zohrran will ensure our public schools are fully funded with equally distributed resources, strong after-school programs, mental health counselors and nurses, compliant and effective class sizes, integrated student bodies. To address the 7 to 9,000 teacher shortage required by the class size law, he will launch a community to classroom, a new initiative to train, certify, and hire new teachers. The program will provide tuition support in exchange for a 3-year commitment to teaching in New York City public schools. He will create car-free school streets to prevent traffic fatalities, improve play, and lower pollution for every school and address student homelessness by expanding the successful Bronx pilot Every Child and Family is Known. Zohrran supports an end to the mayoral control and envisions a system instead of which parents, students, educators, and administrators work together to create a school environment in which students and families best thrive. Strengthening co-governance through a bunch of programs I don't understand the abbreviations of. He will also work with the city and state massively to invest in CUNY, whether taxing NYU and Columbia, or passing the New Deal for CUNY, which he long championed to invest in infrastructure, pay for staff, and faculty living wage. So basically, he's going to make it to where he wants to make sure that public funding is the same across all schools instead of one school getting a ton of funding and one school getting not a lot, so it ends up poorer and off on a worse footing than others. He wants to improve mental health and improve class sizes, which I know is a problem there, and to address the fact that they have a teacher shortage. He's willing to do tuition assistance for people who are pledging to go to school to specifically then work in public schools for at least 3 years, which I think is a great incentive to do that. And also, I think the car-free streets is also interesting because I feel like that is that's a very New York thing. I feel like, at least as someone who's seen a lot of like movies and shows that take place in New York. I think having like the streets where kids can go out and play and do their games with their friends and stuff. I feel like that is something that I kind of always associated as part of the culture of New York. And having that, I think, is something really beneficial and will be really good for the kids in that area. Good for the wee children. Uh, Taxing corpse and the 1%. Zohran has planned to bring down the cost of living through city-owned grocery store, universal childcare, and other bold proposals, and he knows exactly how to pay for it. Zohran's revenue plan will raise the corporate tax rate to match New Jersey's 11.5, bringing in $5 billion. And he will tax the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers, those earning above $1 million annually, a flat 2% tax. Right now, income tax rates are essentially the same whether you make $50,000 or $50 million. Zohran will also implement common sense procurement reform and senseless no-bid contracts, hire more tax auditors, and crack down on fine collection from corrupt landlords to raise the additional billion. I think it's a great example of how wide his scope is. He's literally working to represent children earnestly. Exactly, because I will say, two of the populations that are often forgotten in terms of vulnerability is children and elders. Children and elders are forgotten a lot when it comes to vulnerable populations. And children can't advocate for themselves because they're children, and a lot of elders can't advocate for themselves due to various ailments or just they're forgotten. So I think him putting it as such a focus on children is great and like a great way to protect and improve. Greening New York has been at the heart of Zohran's time in elected office. He fought to establish a Build Public Renewables Act, the All-Electric Building Act, defeat dirty fracked gas plant in his assembly district, winning an unprecedented $100 million in operating funds for our subways and buses, creating New York City's first successful fare-free bus pilot. As mayor, Zohran will continue these efforts and lead a massive decarbonization and climate resilience process citywide. This will include building out renewable energy to our abundant public land and fulfilling the vision of Local Law 97 through greater enforcement and assistance from the city of middle-income homeowners. He will also oversee a disaster preparedness program that prioritizes safe and resilient housing, public waterfronts, and other infrastructures at the forefront of flood protection, and use a multi-agency approach to tackle extreme heat, which kills more people, particularly New Yorkers of color, than any other type of weather event. Finally, as Con Ed tries to raise utility rates by over 10%, Zohran will firmly oppose those exorbitant hikes, as he has in the past. I love the mention of heat waves killing poor and people of color in New York, because that hits home to me as someone from Texas, who a lot of poor communities, and a lot of those poor communities that ended up being people of color got killed in the freeze that we had in our state a couple years ago. So I feel like freezing and heat waves are like cold wave and heat wave is an easy way to say it, are really underthought about weather events that can be very deadly. And him acknowledging that and having that be an area that he is focusing on really was impactful for me. Same, I think I have real trauma from losing my AC during the summer for weeks at a time. It legitimately is, and you can literally get to the point where you feel like you're boiling. Like, it's horrific, legitimately. Fighting the climate crisis and green schools for a healthier New York and improving quality of life are not separate issues but deeply intertwined. Zohran has planned to deliver better and cleaner New York, including an unprecedented investment in our public schools. Zohran's Green Schools for a Healthier New York will renovate 500 public schools with renewable energy infrastructure and HVAC upgrades, transform 50 asphalt schoolyards into vibrant green spaces, create 15,000 union jobs, and build resilient hubs in 50 schools, and provide resources and safe spaces during emergencies. Great. LGBT protections. This was an interesting one because a lot of people tried to there's a lot of people that tried to make Zohran seem like he would be homophobic or transphobic because he's Muslim. He's not at all. Queer and trans people across the United States are facing an increasingly hostile political environment. New York City must be a refuge for IA plus people. But private institutions in our own city have already started capitulating to Trump's assault on trans rights. Meanwhile, the cost of living crisis confronting working class people across the city hits the LGBT community particularly hard, with higher rates of unemployment and homelessness than the rest of the city. The Mamdani administration will protect LGBT New Yorkers by expanding and protecting gender-affirming care citywide, making New York City an LGBTQ plus sanctuary city, and creating an office of LGBTQ plus affairs. The casual Islamophobia, I guess. Yeah. No, there was so much. Are you kidding? The amount of Islamophobia that was shown to him was insane. I saw people being like, why would they vote for a Muslim man because 9/11 happened? As if Zohran Mamdani at 1 years old did 9/11. Like, it's insane. Like, it was unironically, like, the lead up to his election kind of felt like what I imagined 2001 Islamophobia looked like. It was crazy. Yeah, people were saying because he's a Muslim man that he was gonna be like transphobic or homophobic or whatever. No, absolutely not. Like he's incredibly supportive. I think actually quite literally today he went to another Pride festival. He's been incredibly supportive to the community and has been for years. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's so stupid. That's like being like you're a Christian. I'm gonna assume you're homophobic and transphobic. Like, huh? What do you mean? Are you stupid? Like, no. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But no, he's a very staunch supporter for the community. Healthcare. 12% of New York residents are uninsured. To expand across access to healthcare, Zohrran will create a new corps of outreach workers to support New Yorkers navigating the healthcare system. Those workers will support patients in understanding the public resources available to them, how to find insurance, apply to programs, access financial assistance, and claim their health benefits. As Trump attacks public health, particularly reproductive health care, Zohrran will also guarantee that these outreach workers connect every New Yorker in need of reproductive care to affordable quality support. Moreover, New York's public hospital system serve over 1 million unique patients a year and is a crown jewel of our public health infrastructure, but it faces significant funding gaps, leading to underinvestment, understaffing, and overburdened caregivers. Meanwhile, we keep closing our critical community hospitals. Thorn will work with our healthcare unions and city and state partners to increase funding for H+H and end hospital closures. This will protect NYC for public future health emergencies, including guarding against shortages of PPE and ensuring adequate surge capacity and healthcare workers' safety, maintaining programs like Test and Trace to stay on top of trends, and more. As Mayor Zohran will reject Medicare Advantage and reject higher copays for in-service workers. Instead, he'll partner with retirees, workers, and their unions to take on fragmented for-profit healthcare system and lower the costs. God, he's so perfect. I'm trying not to like get hope pilled, but like, fuck, he's so good. Raise the minimum wage to $30 by 2030. Zoran, Pookie. In the world's richest city, making the minimum wage shouldn't be mean living in poverty, but that's exactly what it means for working people today. Even with the hard-won increase of the state minimum wage, when incomes don't match the true cost of living, government services have to make up the difference, effectively subsidizing low-wage workers. As Mayor Zohran will champion a new local law bringing the New York wage floor up to $30 an hour by 2030. After that, the minimum wage will automatically increase based on the cost of living and productivity increases. When working people have more money in their pocket, the whole economy thrives. Ever since 2016, it feels like we're not allowed to have anything nice. It literally feels like a dream. Gonna wake up any second. Literally! Like, no, straight up. It straight up feels like everything is miserable and like we're not allowed to have anything good and nobody genuine and like actually wanting change and goodness and purity in their heart. But look at him. He's like a human embodiment of a capybara. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, It's so crazy to me because I live in a place now where the minimum wage is quite literally double what the minimum wage was in Texas. Because for those who don't know, in Texas, the minimum wage is $7.25. $7.25 is the minimum wage. I can tell you, that is not enough to fucking survive. That is not enough to survive in that state with how expensive it is. I live in a state now that has about double that as the minimum wage. And even that is still not ideal, but it's just shows to me how insane Texas is for 725. And it shows to me how they could be giving more and they just don't. Because he's right. If people have more money, they get to spend more money. I love spending money. Spending money is one of my favorite things to do. I love it. I love consuming, baby. The 725 is what I made at my first job in 2016. So, you know, things never change. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so rough. It shows that like they could be giving more, but they just don't want to. And then this was another cool one too, regulating delivery apps and protecting delivery workers. The delivery app industry has transformed New York City. Delivery workers are fundamental to keeping the city running, supplying groceries, meals, and medications 24/7. Traveling around the city at breakneck speeds, app-based delivery workers now hold the most dangerous jobs in New York City. Despite the immense risks these workers face every day, deliveristas, 80,000 Black, brown, and immigrant workers are exploited by the app companies who demand they complete deliveries at a dangerous pace. Moreover, app companies have misclassified delivery workers as independent contractors instead of employees, so that they can avoid providing them with rights and benefits all workers deserve. New York City app consumers, restaurant owners, small businesses, cyclists, and pedestrians all suffer due to the app companies' predatory policies. The ever-increasing demands of the app companies make our streets less safe and more deliveristas more vulnerable. To address these issues, the Mamdani administration will strengthen license requirements for delivery apps, expand capacity and resources to support deliveristas, and improve street infrastructure, including expanding dot e-bike programs and investing in deliverista hubs. That is such an interesting. I never even thought about this until because I've read through this before. Trust me, like I said, I've dug into this motherfucker so much. I know so much about this man. I know about how he fucking met his wife. I have dug into this shit, okay? Call me crazy, but I'm at the point where I have to like investigate. After the John Fetterman burn, I have to investigate who I'm supporting like religiously. I didn't even think about the delivery worker protection aspect until I saw this policy. It was something that just didn't occur to me, and it makes total sense because yeah, they are considered independent contractors, and I did do a job where I worked as an independent contractor and it fucking sucks. I'll tell you that. It's not great. You don't get shit. Um I didn't actually know they were considered independent contractors until I read this, and that was kind of a shock to me. And that made me feel kind of bad and make me feel like, yeah, I definitely need to tip them pretty fairly, for sure. Um, because sometimes now instead of picking the low tip, I pick the medium one, if I can afford it. But I try not to eat. I try not to eat with delivery very much. Um, I didn't even know that they were independent contractors, and that's horrifying to me that so many people, because when I was at college, like delivery drivers were literally my saving grace. That's how I got my groceries and stuff. To know that they aren't getting benefits and they aren't getting treated fairly is just so sad. And if he can do that, I think even if he can't do everything, if he can at least do that, that'll be a huge step for them across the country. Because I love unionizing, baby. Unionizing is great. Small businesses. New York is the greatest city in the world, but the people who make it are being priced out. This includes small business owners, who account for over 90% of all firms in the city, who employ nearly half of all New Yorkers within the private sector. But too many mom and pop shops are forced to close, but keeping a business open costs too much, and navigating our bureaucracy is too difficult. It costs New Yorkers their jobs, small business owners their dreams, and our city places that give it character. Zohrran will make it faster, easier, and cheaper to start and run a business in New York City so that bodegas and corner stores stay open and dollar slices come back. He will cut small business fines in half, speed up permitting, and make online applications easier, and increase funding from one-to-one small businesses support by 500%. So he'll appoint a mom and pop czar to make sure it happens. Calling it a mom and pop czar. Are we fucking kidding, man? Are we kidding? That's so funny. Like, Zohran, you don't have to throw out jokes too. Like, mom and pop czar is so funny. It's so funny. This motherfucker talks about libraries, man. I love libraries. No one talks about libraries. He does. Libraries are critical to our city's success. They enable access to internet, provide cool heat from the summer, serve vital community hubs, and help New Yorkers seek career advancement and education. Yet, Eric Adams' library closures have been devastating. As a state legislator, I support neighborhood organizing to restore funding to Astoria's Broadway Library and have used Assembly discretionary money to fund programming at the Queens Public Library. As mayor, I will end the practice of using library funding as a bargaining chip in budget negotiations and commit 0.5% of New York City's budget to libraries, ensuring we have enough revenue for robust services and well-staffed facilities. This bro cares about the libraries, man. Nobody ever does. I fucking love libraries so much. When I was in college, I used to go sit in the library, even when I didn't have anything to do, just like if I was waiting for my next class. I would just sit in there because it was so cool, and they had vending machines with like pre-made food, so I could get like a sandwich and eat, so I had lunch during the day and a drink, and I didn't have to spend like a ton of money. And I was able to charge my laptop. Like, it was perfect. It was literally a lifesaver for me because otherwise I would have to spend extra money on groceries to bring food with me to campus. My single mom worked 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. most days, and after school I'd go to the library until it closed. Spent a few years like that. That's why my dumbass is so well read. Ah. I was too poor for internet, so my ass got to play RuneScape. True! Yeah, the internet, dude. When I was a kid, I used to go to the internet. I used to go all the time because I would play, like, Pop Tropica and stuff like that. I would play that, and I would play the Build-A-Bear online game all the time. And then his last one is Trump-proofing New York City. Donald Trump is tearing at the fabric in New York City in his second term. He has already deployed ICE agents to pluck New Yorkers from their families. He has already sent high prices skyrocketing with tariffs, and he's threatened vital social services that working New Yorkers rely on every day. Zohran Mamdani will fight Trump's attempts to gouge the working class and deliver a city where everyone can afford a dignified life. He ensured our immigrant New Yorkers are protected by strengthening our sanctuary city apparatus, getting ICE out of all city facilities and ending any corruption, increasing legal support, and protecting all personal data. He'll make in New York City an LGBTQ sanctuary city and protect reproductive rights. He'll also protect workers and ensure our current laws are enforced by increasing the budgets of DCWP and the NYC Commission on Human Rights and muscling up our law department. God, he's so good. And boom, immediately with the Bernie Sanders endorsement at number 1. Rah! You know it's good when he's rocking the Bernard Sanders endorsement at number 1. That's when you know. That's when you know, baby. He got a lot of endorsements though. Like, he's got a lot. Like, a lot of endorsements. NYC DSA, Unite Here, Local 100. We got the United Auto Workers, Hotel and Gaming Trades, New York State Nurses Association, New York City Central Labor Council. We got the Local 372, Teamsters, Federation of Teachers, more Teamsters, Jewish Voices for Peace, New York Progression Action, New York Communities for Change, the Jewish Vote, Stonewall Democrats. He's got so many. Alliance of South Asian American Labor, Gen Z for Change. He's got so many organizations. So many. Muslims Vote Project, Planned Parenthood of Greater New York. Got so many. So many. Architecture Workers United, Alliance for Quality Education, Women's Action Group of Forest Hills. Got so many. Kathy? Which one's bitch ass Kathy? Oh, Governor? Here's the thing. I feel like she only endorsed him because she doesn't like Andrew Cuomo. I don't think she actually likes Zohran. I think she endorsed him because she doesn't like Andrew Cuomo. I have a feeling she's gonna fight him really hard. Um, I have a feeling she's gonna fight him pretty hard. If she's already trying to screw over the bus fares, then yeah. Yeah, she probably just didn't want Andrew Cuomo. Also, I think she also probably didn't think he was actually gonna win and thought maybe this would score her some points for being like, oh, I'm being progressive. See, guys? But then like she's not actually. A lot of people do that, unfortunately. But that's Zohran. Lovely Zohran. I'm really excited. Just remember, very important. Zohran does not take office until January 1st. I didn't know I was following a political tuber. Um, Zohran does not go until January 1st, so things that happen before then, they're gonna try to blame it on him. But he's only the elect. He does not actually get to make proper major decisions until after the 1st. And yes, on Mondays we cover news. I am a political science. I have my degree in political science. I want to eventually get a PhD in political science. So on Monday mornings we cover news for about 2, 3 hours. We actually just finished going through uh our stories here, kind of getting back into it. It's been a little bit since I did some news. I didn't do any for spooky month just because we were taking some time to play some games, and also my schedule was really crazy at the time. But now we're back to doing Monday news. Usually I do kind of like a week in recap sort of style of major stories that happened that week, or maybe ones that I missed previously that are going on. But yes. We talked about the shutdown, we talked about beef prices, we talked about the flight issues, and we finished it off with talking about our lovely Zohran to kind of get some hope, get some energy back, because I try my best to throw in a couple hopeful stories here and there to brighten things, because sometimes otherwise politics can be really down and can really drag down your vibe. You gotta kind of do what you can to bring things up, make things brighter. So I try my best. uh Truthfully though, that's really all I had to talk about. So I want to kind of open this up to if anyone has any questions on anything we discussed, or just any, like, if you just have a question that maybe you want someone to explain something, I can do my best. Uh, I'm not an expert. I only know my specific area very well, but I can try. But I thought maybe it could be nice to open at the end of our little news streams, open up for any potential questions or just any comments maybe you maybe wanted to make earlier, but because we moved on or something, we weren't able to. How much did Zoran win by? I heard it was by a lot, but then it was closer. I actually have the polling number here. Zohran got 50.4%, Andrew Cuomo got 41.6%. He got about almost 200,000 more votes than Andrew Cuomo. The numbers definitely picked up. Um, it looks like they're still counting votes, so his numbers could go up. They still have around 145,000. It's clear that Zohran is the winner. Um, So his numbers might increase that he won by. Uh, Part of it also, there was a lot of people who voted for Curtis Silla specifically to cuck Andrew Cuomo as well. But yeah, that is what he won by. He won by a 50%. Zohran my goat? He is, dude. We just finished glazing the fuck out of him. Masterclass campaign, truly. I think I wanna like sometime next week, maybe when we do our next news stream. I might want to dedicate a small section to like make a little thing to kind of analyze why I think his campaign was so good, because I truly do think that he ran a generational campaign. Because I'm gonna be so honest, when I get people like Alphonse and stuff that aren't necessarily super political talking to me that they're up to date on what the New York mayor is doing, that's kind of crazy. You know? Like, I'm gonna know that kind of stuff because I'm a nerd and I dedicate my free time to politics. But like when people like my boyfriend who only really know politics through me talk to me about like stuff he saw from Zohran is like crazy, you know? It's insane. Like that's crazy. The only speed bump was the college application debacle, right? Yeah, and then just the fact that he's Muslim. That's really it. They pretty much just hate him, which I mean, the guy he was running against literally killed old people and sexually assaulted his coworkers, so I don't really know what was like, you know, I feel like anything's kind of a better alternative. Quick question that'll probably get auto-modded. Okay. If you want to ask it, I can see if it gets auto-modded, I'll see what it is and I'll tell you if I can answer it or not. Because I know sometimes it does clock like certain words that aren't inherently bad, but it, you know, it tries to piece together if someone's saying something inappropriate. Oh, would not write the word out. I would just write the first letter if you're worried about something like that. If it's a slur, don't say it, yeah. If it's a slur, don't say it. If you write like the letter in Word, I'll probably know what it is. I unfortunately had to learn what a lot of those were for my studies, so I unfortunately know quite a bit. But yeah, he won by almost 10%. It's looking like it's going to be at least 10%, which is like really solid for a like that's solid for any campaign, but especially for a grassroots campaign, like that's insane against essentially an incumbent because Andrew Cuomo, well, he's not an incumbent, but he was a people know him. Like the Cuomo family is like a political family. So that is still like ungodly impressive and I hope it inspires more grassroots campaigns. Yeah, we do. I'm also hoping that a lot of people who got politically active in this don't just stop because it's well Zohran won. I hope this inspired a lot of people to look into politicians in their local areas who might be like him. Oh, okay, okay. Got you. I know what you're referring to. I recently found out about Operation, yeah, which I find is mirroring a lot of our current day administration. I was wondering if you knew about it, and two, how do you feel about it? Do you feel current political climate is mirroring a lot of what we see today, or not so much? Uh, so like, hold on. Let me just double check. Yeah, you're talking about in regards to basically using like militarized force to remove immigrants, especially ones of like Hispanic descent. Uh like they did during that. Yeah. There is definitely similarities 100%. And yeah, I understand. I know what you're referring to with that. Like I said, I'm from the South, so I know that word. Um It is unfortunately a horrific program that they basically are doing again the same. I mean, they have already ICE agents that are kitted the fuck out, going through and doing whatever they want. There's absolutely similarities. We'll be already be deporting American citizens soon. Um, yeah, I mean, they already had like even just for example the Hyundai factory where they arrested a bunch of Koreans that were a lot of them were there on visas, you know. They're already just rounding up people that they don't think look like, to put it bluntly, white people and assuming that they're there illegally when a lot of them aren't. And soon it's just going to turn into you look different, you have an accent, you feel different. So we're just going to get rid of you. I heard apparently some people were just dropped in the middle of the desert and died because of the operation. And I feel that's sadly similar to what we're seeing with the prisons. Yep. No, it is. I'm terrified for a lot of the communities that I grew up in because a lot of the communities I grew up into, a lot of kids, their parents were undocumented. Um, I still remember 26 the day Donald Trump got elected for his first term, and I remember getting on the school bus and almost every other kid was literally crying because they were scared about their parents. And that was his first presidency. Let alone like the current one that is way more balls to the wall than the first one. Learned about it from a former cop who was bragging about it. Yep. Mm-hmm. They radicalized me against the police. Oh yeah. Reminds me of when they deported a legal citizen because he couldn't speak for himself due to being mentally challenged. It's like I'm gonna be honest, like sorry, I'm like it's like gonna make me cry thinking about like and I don't want you to feel like bad about asking a question. I don't want you to feel bad about asking a question. It's just it deeply saddens me. History is definitely repeating and not in a good way. Definitely what they are doing is similar. Feels like the administration of presidency is hell-bent on being remembered in history, positive or negatively. He doesn't care which, because he's an utmost narcissist. And this is coming from someone who was raised by someone very narcissistic. He, that is truly all he cares about. He wants to be famous, whether it's famous or infamous, he doesn't care. Oh, thank you. My bipolar ass cries about something like this every day. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's just, it hurts my heart because I don't understand how you could not see someone as a human just because of a piece of paper. Truthfully, I don't understand that. Because at the end of the day, I grew up being told that like America's the country of immigrants and that's our pride and joy. But now that I'm an adult, all of a sudden we're acting as if that's not what we've been championing for years and years. and now we're snatching people off the side of the street and we're throwing them into prisons because of it. Like, that's ridiculous. Very 1940s Germany, ask us how things are going with the far right. 100%. Empathy is not a sin, Mina. It's okay to be scared for other people's safety. Yeah, I'm not like JD Vance who says that empathy is a sin. No, it's just, I'm someone who I try to have empathy and compassion at the center of my worldview. Like, when I have like my parents ask me and stuff of like, well, what about them being immigrants? What if they're here illegally? And I'm just like, I really don't care. I really don't. Are they following laws and going to work and providing for their families and being happy and being normal people? Then that's what matters. If someone's being a criminal, citizen or not, they deserve punishment. Not severe, uncruel punishment, but punishment. Most of them are just hardworking, the most hardworking people I've ever met. Like I said, most of my friends, their parents were working multiple jobs each, and they were doing everything they could. I'm an immigrant and I still want to find a way to make the country be better. I want to be proud of my home, not ashamed. Yep. Jesus wouldn't care, and neither do I. And also, when I was a gun nerd, I proved with the FBI crime statistics that immigrants illegal or otherwise committed less violent crimes than citizens per capita. Yep. That's the thing, too, is like, I mean, part of the reason that like I went into political science is because kind of like what you mentioned, Alphonse. I mean, I'm not an immigrant, but that same feeling of I want to be proud of my country, but I'm not because they haven't given me anything to be proud of. And I want to hopefully make it to where I can one day be proud. At the rate we're going, if we get more Zohrans, I could see myself becoming proud. But at the rate we're going, no. Because the current administration and the current conservative party in general has just such an unempathetic, heartless, cruel view of the world that completely contradicts everything that I stand for. And unfortunately, they're the ones in charge. They have a tax identification number, then they aren't here illegally. We know they're here and they're actively contributing to the country. It's why Trump is hell-bent on getting rid of. Yep. Oh yeah. No, it's a big thing. It's unfortunate. And we talked a bit a few weeks ago about Chicago. I do want to next Monday touch back on what's going on. Just gotta buy our time. If you know who kicks the bucket, then cross our fingers it shatters. I don't know why you saying fingers it you saying fingers it got automated alpha, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, my fear as someone who studies poli-sci, and this is something I've tried to tell people, and this is why I'm very big on you gotta vote for not just the Oh, thank you. I'm probably gonna end after this, unfortunately, just because I do shorter on Mondays, but also because mentally just been kind of rough lately. So I've been doing some shorter streams. But I will say next Monday at noon EST to about 3 p.m. EST, I'll be back with Politics Nova or Nove. But yeah, thank you for stopping by, and I hope your girlfriend has a great time at work, or at least decent time, because work is work. My kind of fear. Exactly, Pumpkin. Is like I tell people vote in local elections, vote for your state representatives, vote for your senators, because ultimately at the end of the day it doesn't stop and end with the presidency, and he has sowed a seed deep within. At the end of the day, none of them truly care. None of the politicians truly care about him. The second he's gone, they're gonna Game of Thrones style be at each other's neck trying to take over. And my worry is that someone significantly more competent is going to be the one that takes over. Because that's kind of the one reassuring quality of him, is that he's very incompetent. He could unironically do way worse if he truly was like a competent evil piece of shit. He's just an incompetent one. That's kind of my fear. That's why like I kind of tell people that like as much as if the instance that happened a couple months ago at that rally happened, it wouldn't have actually been a good thing because he just would have been a martyr and they probably would have gotten even more of a landslide and it would have just built more fanfare and more of a base around it. Like, I'm legitimately terrified of what happens the day Putin dies. It might be perfectly fine, or we might get a shattered Russia with 14 nuclear armed micronations. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that. uh. It was fun though getting to talk politics again. I haven't gotten to talk politics in a hot minute. So, it's been pretty good. I'm doing a bit better. Mental is still rough. Um, Still pretty rough, but I'm getting better, I think. I don't know. I feel like marginally better, I think. Part of me, I kind of like forced myself to get up and get here and stream, and I know that might sound like a bad thing, but like no, like legit, I'm the kind of person where I will like sit in bed and rot if I don't force myself to get up and do things, even if I'm like emotionally tired and mentally tired. So like it is a good thing for me to do. And like I told myself I was like I'm going to get up and I'm going to stream for 2 hours minimum. I think for next time you should have some soft music in the background. I've thought about that. I wasn't totally sure but I can try to set something like that up cuz technically this is only our third stream we've done of politics. So I wasn't totally sure how to how I want it fully set up yet. But I was thinking that too. I think I'm gonna get some music that I can put in the background maybe, and then I can just turn it off when we're doing a video or something. That's a good idea. I'll try to get something like chill that's also not like gonna be potentially disrespectful, you know? I have a playlist of non-copyrighted lo-fi music if you need. Hell yeah, Alphonse. Yeah, I'll probably take a look at that. Cause yeah, just so we could have something. Cause I think that'll be good to have with us. It's just yeah, I was kind of working out too how I want to run it. Um oh, also if you want to giggle a bit, I sent this to Pumpkin. You can see these are my notes that I take for stream. You can see this morning when I actively when I actively saw that the Senate voted for the government to potentially reopen and I started crashing out a little bit. Government shutdown reaches record 40 days. Oh, it doesn't matter. Senate voted to open. Those cocks, fuck them, bitch ass dams, no spine having ass lips. You can kind of see when I was crashing out. But that's a little kind of sneak peek into how I do my how I gather my stories. I just keep little links of them and then I open them up. But I was like checking and then literally 30 minutes before stream, pretty much I saw that and I was like, fuck. But it was so much fun. I had fun. This was great. I miss getting to talk politics, so this was a lot of fun. Um, Honestly, Mina throwing her cowboy hat on the ground and stomping on it like Yosemite Sam. I basically did. I basically did. Um, so I will probably go ahead and end here. We're at about 2:45-ish. Glad you had fun, Mina. Wishing you well rest of the week. Thank you. Like I said, tomorrow night we'll be doing a collab with Chi for Outlast Trials. If you guys can't make it because it is later than my usual time, it's totally understandable and fine. I'm gonna upload a VOD on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch us do spooky if you miss it, so no pressure to be there. And then we'll be getting back to Yakuza, which I'm so excited about. I'll at least catch the first hour. Hell yeah. We'll probably only go for like 2 or 3 hours, also just because it'll be late and I don't want to be too loud and keep people up because it is a scary game. So I will be probably yelling a bit. But it's really fun, so I really like it. Thank you. Even though he left, still thank you to Gringo and thank you Pumpkin for the subs. We're currently at 18, so I'm so happy. I'm so proud of us. We're doing so good. Subathon has been so much fun, and I can't wait for us to be able to get our art. It'll be so good. So I greatly appreciate I greatly appreciate that. I'll say another thank you when I see Gringo next time. Uh the next sub goal at 20 is the tier list debate with chat. At 30 is the smasher pass that characters chat recommends. Actually, I can just go ahead and pull it up. Yeah. 40 is actually a special edition of Gal News as well. We'll be doing our what's it called? Our Toyotathon special. And then 50 is my boyfriend joined stream. Yippee. So that's our little subathon goals, in case you forgot. I'm so excited. But let me go ahead and see if there's anyone on. It looks like I'm probably gonna be sending you gals to my girl Arena again. Arena seems to be my gal that's on the most, so we're just gonna regularly give her love. She's great. I wanted to say thank you again for coming. I was a little nervous to talk about politics again because it had been a hot minute. But seeing so many of y'all here and listening and having fun means a lot. Because this is my like passion. So thank you. That really means a lot to me. And yeah, I'll make sure, hopefully we'll finish up the shutdown story next week when we get more information. And Yakuza, Yakuza, Yakuza! Alright, we'll get something going to Arena and go show her some love because she's amazing. She's such a sweetheart. So Arena's someone I want to eventually do something with because she's so cute. So go show her some love. She's great. And thank you so much for coming, everyone. Goodbye.